Well, Thomas, I don't know how I kept putting the wrong video in there to start the show. We're not doing Aqueduct today, that's for sure.
That would be a challenge.
How many miles away?
That's what I looked at.
Yeah, we're just kind of doing on the fly. That's how I feel sometimes. Well, last week I kind of did it on the fly in Japan with the algorithm, and thinking that algorithm, the quickly put together Excel spreadsheet, winner in 4 out of the 5 races. I was actually thrilled with that.
Yeah, and there were some tough to come up with.
Yeah, it was actually I was chuckling. Today we're going to do Hong Kong, Sha Tin, where we've had some success before with long shots coming in, high-priced horses, low-priced horses, everything in between. That's a little bit about the card this weekend, Thomas.
These are what I wouldn't call the stellar group of races in terms of class. There's only one race that's the upper rated horses, but it presents some interesting challenges, especially the races where you have horses just starting in Hong Kong. And what do you do with those?
You pick them, Thomas. We'll tell you why.
Sometimes yes, and sometimes no.
All right. Well, before we go about picking our horses at Sha Tin, you can pick up some free picks today at Guarantee Tip Sheet, tomorrow too. Today is Charlestown this evening, so make sure you head on over there for that. Of course, tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday, we'll have some free picks as well. There's a link in the description down there below. Kindly use that so they know where it is you are coming from. A little later on tonight, early tomorrow, we will put together our thoughts from today's show along with our comments at horseracingtoday.net. There's also a link for that in the description below. You'll find our picks right there. And while you're on the Horse Racing Today mothership, right there where you see it says HRT gear, just click on that. It'll take you to this page. Give you an opportunity to get yourself a baseball hat, an apron. If you're cooking, hell, holiday cooking, you could use an apron. It doesn't have to be white. You can make it any color you want. So if you're kind of messy in the kitchen, you can make a green, you can make a red, you can make a blue to match your holiday spirit. Unquestionably, we make everything adjustable here.
Too.
Yeah, right. I mean, if you're making something like blueberry pie, wear a blueberry vest. Have you ever cooked in an apron, Tom?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I used to be a cook at Perkins as a kid and Kmart when I was in college, and we had to wear something like that. You kind of wanted to wear it, though. It didn't matter what you wore. You still went home smelling like fried food.
Yep, that's the way it works.
Yeah, unfortunately, right? Smelly, smelly stuff. All right, so let's get started with our first race today. Or actually, these races are going to be from Saturday night to Sunday morning. They're running in December. Well, they're all going to be early Sunday morning. The first one is the middle handicap, 2:35 a.m. Eastern. I always say that I won't be awake during these races, Thomas, and I think this time I actually won't be. But if not, it starts at 2:35 a.m.
We've heard that before.
So this one is on the all-weather track. We haven't done all-weather at Sha Tin yet. It's 1,800 meters.
We've done it occasionally, but it's been rare because of the level of horses. They don't consider the all-weather as top class running races.
Well, from my experience here, some horses either like that surface or they don't like it. So
and that's true in Hong Kong too. Mm-hmm. They like it or they don't like it, and you try to pick out breeding lines, and sometimes it gives you little hints, but a lot of times, nope.
So this one's going to be, again, it's 1,800 meters. So if we look at the track, 1,800 meters is going to start right here. They run the same way we do, so they're going to run around the corner and come back around this way.
No, so they go the other way.
They're going to go this way? Oh, yes, they're going to go this way. Yes, go that way. All right, so which is the way we run, right? No, we run this way. No, anyway, they run backwards. All right, so I'm mixed up. So they're going to start 1,800 meters. They're going to start here. It's it's 2 turns, more than 1 lap around the track. Thomas, from your experience watching Sha Tin, whether they run that way or that way, what's important in terms of running style?
Mid pack and a good starting position.
So a little bit of a good start. Give yourself well.
There occasionally will be a wire-to-wire type, but that's not the norm. Usually it's a big rush at the end.
So if you want to know who has a good shot, you see right here we're using racing.hongkong or HKJC, so HongKongJockeyClub.com. And then you can find race cards here. And when you do so, when you click on here, this will give you the horses in the race. In this case, we're on race number 6. Over here, you see Speed Pro. If you click on that, it'll open up to this page here. This will tell you a little bit about how the horse ran. Good, fast pace last time out. So it gives you some good information on the horses themselves. And then over here, the next page over, if you see up in here, there's a speed map. If you click on the speed map, it'll take you to this page, which will give you an idea what the early pace looks like. It does look like on here that there's plenty of early pace in this race, which could open up the door. The horses to the middle of the back. Thomas, which doors do you think are going to open for which horse to get into the Winners' Cup?
I am going with one of the back horses who cannot get out of the starting gate if it's life dependent on it. It never does. Number 6, Forever Folks, my top choice. He ran an even effort last time. We ran 6th. He just needed some room, and he'll be back in the field again. And he's won twice on the all-weather. He just needs a good trip. 13 On the Lash is going to be my next one. He's had a tough trip 2 starts back. He sat up near the front in second and was a bit wide. And of course, that took too much out of him, and that was that. In the last race, he settled mid-pack and ran a good 5th. The last 2 races are significantly better than the ones previous to that, which he ran 12th, 11th, and 14th. So I think he's on the upswing. And that's why I'm going to put him in. Finally, I'm going to take number 10, Never Pete Out. Or Peter Out.
I want to do that.
Yeah, well, he's run twice on the all-weather. He won 1, he ran 3rd in the other. He's a mid-type runner, he's run good efforts, but just not getting it done completely. He's been wide. He's moves a little bit, and then okay. But I think switching back to the all-weather is going to help him, and that's why I'm going to put him in for 3rd.
I'm going to start off with Northern Beast, the number 1 horse, and if you've watched the show before, you'll know that when it comes to Hong Kong, you'll have a little bit of success if you decide to focus on jockey Zach Purton. Well, that can't be the only thing that you look at. This horse likes running a mile, no question about that. The only question for this horse, it's done its best work on turf, going to try the synthetic for the first time. Usually that transition from synthetic to turf does work, but again, as we talked about earlier, horses either love the surface or hate the surface. That's been my experience. We'll get the answer. I don't think if he hated the surface, you would see Zach Purton on it today. Number 8, Reliable Profit. That's what we're hoping for on this show. The last 2 times this horse ran a mile on all-weather at Sha Tin, it found itself in the winner's enclosure. It ran 1 mile previously, before those 2 Ws, at Sha Tin, and it finished 2nd. So clearly a horse for the Sha Tin synthetic course. You and I agree the 3rd spot should go to Never Peter Out. This horse has 2 runs on the all-weather surface. Both of them were pretty solid. We did mention the last time out, Tom finishing 3rd, but if you dig in just a little bit deeper and you look at the final times compared to the win, the 3rd place finish was actually 1.5 seconds faster. So even though it didn't win, it still improved plenty enough to consider it today. And then finally, I'm going to take a shot here with Enshine. This horse is the 7 horse, and this horse is going to make its 2nd career start. It was actually decently bet in its debut. I mean, 10-1, 11-1 for first-time starters. I would call that pretty well bet. Like, some hope that the horse will do well. And from my experience, horses tend to make their biggest jump, well, not from maiden special weight down, but in their 2nd career start. So the horse held the lead till late, then really faded. A lot of times they have more stamina in race number 2 and are a lot less shy in their 2nd start. We'll see how that plays out. Next up is race number 7. Let me X out of a couple of these things real quick. We come to race number 7. It is the Peninsula Golden Jubilee Challenge Cup. It's a handicap. This one's 1,200 meters on the all-weather track, and hopefully this time I figure out the way they're going to run, Tom. It's like they're going to go, all right, which way are they going to go? Well, they certainly can't go this way. Yeah, they're going to go that way, I guess. So they come around this way and finish. So it's a little less than one full sweep around the track. So in this particular one-turn scenario in the States, one turn favors speed. In Hong Kong, does it also favor speed?
No.
It's a safe answer.
That would be the exception rather than the rule. Do you need to be forwardly placed? It depends on the running style. I like a horse that ducks in with some cover, and then the jockey looks for an opening. Sometimes the rail opens up. Sometimes they just have to come a little wide and make up ground out in the mid-track area. So it's an interesting race, to say the least, because we have some that have never been on the all-weather. And I'm going to start with number 12, who has been on the all-weather, and that's Sing Dragon.
Before we do that, Tom, we got to show the...
Oh, you want to do your speed map?
Yes. Here's the... Again, there are a lot of race notes in here, so you can see the pace, good to fast, in this race. So you can get a lot of notes off of that. And then here on the speed chart, you do see, again, pretty blazing fast start. Everybody's middle forward. So that should open up the door. Tom says speed doesn't really hold up there. Should open up the door to horses with some late legs, and it sounds like that's what you're picking from, Tom.
Yeah, I'm going to try that mid-pack type horse, and that's where I'm starting at. Number 12's Sing Dragon. Last two starts have been good, but he's had issues. An awkward start in one of them. He was blocked on the rail. He ran fifth in another. They came from 12th, which is pretty good. Making progress, but these races are on the turf and at Happy Valley. He's going to return to the all-weather. And he's done okay on that. He's got 4 starts and 3 wins. This level, yeah, he's a Class 2 horse. Still a tough group, especially with the unknowns. I'm going to take 7, Capital Delight, my next choice. He's the veteran of this bunch. He says he has 8 starts on the all-weather. He's got 3 wins, 2 seconds, and 1 third. 2 races back, he came from 10th, sitting in 10th early, and then made up some nice ground. His last race, he sat right behind the leaders and saved ground and didn't finish. Basically, the last 100 meters, just not there. I think returning to the all-weather you're going to see much better form out of this horse. And he certainly has the experience. And finally, I'm going to take number 4, Bundle of Charm, my final pick here. Last race, he dropped back, went wide on the turn, and just finished evenly. Ran 9th. Again, another one who returns to the all-weather, and he's done pretty good there. He's got 3 starts and 2 wins. This is a horse that is going to need a little bit of pace to run at, and I think there's plenty in here. So that's why I'm going to put him for 3rd.
I'm going to start off with full credit. I know that the speed chart showed a lot of speed in this race, but when I went through the past performances, quite frankly, I didn't see a lot of it. So maybe they're doing some sort of algorithm with the early speed. I think this one's going to be out front. It's going to have the clear speed advantage over everybody else. And I don't really suspect the fractions are going to be all that hot. For me, the question is the class rise and the all-weather switch. But if that one can get out by the front to itself.
Class rise is an issue.
What's that?
The class rise is definitely an issue. This is an interesting group.
Well, to me, that was an issue. So I still think, though, it does have enough speed advantage early on that if it get away with some reasonable fractions in a field.
Well, and the draw is good. So that helps.
I also like Sing Dragon. As you pointed out, Tom, 3 out of 4 of its wins, 3 out of 4 races on the all-weather were wins. It's run on 12 races on other surfaces and only managed to collect the big check twice. So clearly a horse for the synthetic course, which goes back to what we talked about earlier. Horses either like the surface or they don't. Another one, as you pointed out too, that does like the surface, also likes to be in my picks, is Capital Delight. Been on that surface 8 times, 3 wins, a couple of seconds, and a third. So 6 out of 8, if my math is correct. And as you accurately pointed out, this one will be coming from off the pace. So if closers do hold on and do well, this is the one that might do the best with its career record on the plastic. Or what is it, rubber, right? Some sort of like rubber.
I don't think it's rubber. I think it's more of a combo surface that they put on there. I'd have to look that up. I don't remember what it is. So
I know from playing soccer on like or football, soccer, but on those newer like synthetic fields like that, it's just like a bunch of like little rubber pellets. And maybe the soccer fields are, I mean, I'm not running in horse races, obviously, but I'd imagine they're the same thing, just colored brown instead of colored green.
Yeah.
And then finally, there's that guy again, Zach Purton on Tomodachi Kokoro. I just wanted to say that. That's really the only reason I picked this one. But you got to think Zach on a horse, first time on synthetic. The horse has probably been facing better. So maybe the horse can come to life on the jockey and surface switch. Many times that is a winning combination.
Yep.
Off to race number 8, we go to the Moody handicap. This is for the people, for the Moody people coming off of all the sugar buzz. This one, too, is here in the States anyway. It's an all-weather track again, 1,650 meters. So here you can see I should have just looked at this beforehand. I would have saved myself some embarrassment. But they're going to start right before the start-finish line. Come around a little more than once. That turn comes awfully quick, Thomas. Last time, I tried to set myself up to look good, and I got the flat deadpan no. This time, early speed has to have a impact because they get to that turn so quick.
Positioning is the bottom line. And if you got one that you need to tuck in with get cover, that's advantageous. It just depends on how they're breaking from the inside of you. Obviously not the one post, but the rest of them. And so I try to look at it that way, just where I think they're going to break and then sit.
So according to this, this one's not as quick. Everybody's kind of in the middle here. So maybe if you can.
This is a mid-pack bunch.
Mm-hmm. So it looks like 3, Fan Track is the one that's going to get to the front. Really doesn't have anything to clear up in there. So if Fan Track can get to that turn first, Tom, it has a pretty good shot perhaps to give itself a good chance by being in great position to finish at least in the money. Do you have that one in your picks at all?
Nope.
No, well, maybe not.
That doesn't mean anything, of course, but it's just it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
We'll start with number 6, Fighting Machine. First race on the all-weather. He had a really bad draw and raced in the rear and made up ground at the end. He got up for second. He's switching to a top jockey.
Who is?
Wonder who that is. Mm-hmm. That's usually a good sign that the horse may be ready to pop here. Number 1, Supreme Agility is going to be my next choice. His only effort on the all-weather was a third. He was along the rail. He was under pressure in that race, so the jockey was asking for speed, and he improved enough. I mean, one of those deals where they may just need a race over the surface, and I expect good things today, even with that weight on there. And finally, I'm going to take 8, Must Go. Ran second last 2 races on the all-weather. He's coming in off a little bit of a layoff, and he didn't, some other races he'd been fading, so he's, seems to be running better. And the only thing is with him is that 7 post position with where he wants to be could be tricky. So that requires a jockey who knows what he's doing.
Well, a jockey that does know what he's doing, and you pointed that out, that there's a Zach upgrade. We can go with that for Fighting Machine with the 6 horse. That's not really what got me, though. In the past performances that I'm using, and I'll link to it in the recap of the show over at horseracingtoday.net a little bit after the show's over, probably sometime tonight, early tomorrow. But anyway, in the program, the handicapper or whatever you want to call it, the analyst notes, the final note was could easily blow them away in the dying stages. Now, you don't see that very often. Handicappers usually try to hedge their bets, so to speak. And that's really not hedging. That's kind of putting a marker down and saying, hey, look for this horse to blow by him at the end. Must Go, one that we agree on, Thomas. That's my second choice. This one's a closer. Getting a little extra distance after running out of track at 6 furlongs in the last few races, and all of them so far. But I think that little extra furlong is going to make a difference for this guy. Talent's Ambition, that is the 5 horse. This one's likely or could be your favorite. The last time he ran an mile at Sha Tin on the all-weather one, a little bit of a cutback in distance, I don't think is damaging at all. And then finally, number 9, Young Brilliant. I'm going to take another long shot, it looks like, right here. This one is also has a win at a mile on the Sha Tin all-weather track. So it seems like it can run the distance. I know this is one of those tweener races. Is it a sprint? Is it a route? But I do think it should do well, Tom.
Well, you've got the 2-turn factor, and that turn comes up quick. So you got to have a horse that doesn't mind running a turn.
And this one should do just fine. All right, 2 races to go. Race number 9. This one is the Nathan Handicap. Wonder who Nathan is. So this one's going to be, I think, they go to the turf course for the first time. Yes. So the turf course is listed as good. Anything in the weather, Tom, that you think will change that?
No, I doubt it.
So you see here, they're going to start right here. We'll go over here so I don't screw it up this time. 1,400 meters. They're going to start right here. And they're going to come all the way around the track. One turn. Again, one turn in the States does favor some speed usually, whether it's a route or it is a sprint. But I got to know on the all-weather track. So I suspect I'm going to get a no here too, closers.
I have to go with those closers. Again, you got to be a pretty good horse in a field where you can steal the race. And of course, we see more European-styled riding than we do, which is, the last 3 furlongs is when they really kick the horse into gear.
Well, it looks like from the projected race shape, it looks like you have plenty of closers to pick from. I think when you see a race shape like this, you kind of want to focus in these middle horses in here, perhaps just from a pace standpoint, because they can get the best of a kind of slowish early pace and good positioning and still have the late legs because they're not running that fast to stay ahead of these pure closers in there, Tom. How do you see it?
Well, if you saw the comment on there, no clear pace horse in there. So I did take number 5, who likes to be a little closer to the pace, if not on it, Master of All. He's been running very well. Last races, I should say, he's either been first or second. He's never been out of the money at this distance. He likes to be near the lead. But again, looks like a paceless race, being there's no clear front runner. So it'll be interesting to see where the jockey puts this horse. Previous start ran second. He's won same distance. Why not win again? One last, right. And didn't get the big penalty of weight, so that's good. Number 2. Run, Run from your next choice. His runs in Hong Kong have been, not great. But the last one was a little bit better than the other ones have been, and that was that he was running a little closer to the pace. And that's my infamous Signs of Life horse. Odds are certainly the draw is not great. And but I think sitting mid-pack, if he can finish, and he'll be decent odds. And finally, I'm going to take the top weight horse in this race, Mighty Steed. Again, that man's on it. And he's run 4th last time out. Finished well at the end. He just by a neck. So, they were all on the wire at that point. His best finish in Hong Kong is a third, and he did that from the outside post. Well, if you see the number draw he's got, that's definitely an outside post.
Yeah.
And he's one of those that sits back and make a run. So let's see what he can do.
It's definitely the most outside horse. And Zach Purton is the jockey again. And I have Zach in every race except this one.
This one.
I'm going to start where you started, Master of All, Tom. I think that's the one to beat. You can see the line right here, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1, 1. Horse is clearly in good form. It's never been off the board in 6 races at the distance. 6 wins, 6 races, 6 wins. That would be something else. But 6, 3, 2, and 1, 3 wins, 2 seconds, and a third. And as you pointed out, this horse will get good positioning early on. Should be forward in, as the note said, a who knows who's going to get to where race. I'm going to go with the first-time starter in here, Flying Akeed. Honestly, when I was looking through and marking down, do I think that – because I usually when I go through it, I put like a yes, the horse can win, or maybe to yes, maybe to no. And all of my horses pretty much got a maybe except for Master of All. So I wasn't overly impressed with the rest of the field. So might as well give the first-timer a chance, and they must think they have a decent horse to debut it here.
That, and also if you go to that Speed Pro again,
and Speed Pro, hold on me.
Yeah,
I closed it so I don't get lost. Speed Pro, all right.
Well, you're allowed to get lost. You go down to that horse.
Flying Akeed, the 7 horse, 5, 6, 7. There you go.
That'll give you a nice write-up of what the horse has been doing in the barrier trials. And some other notes. So it helps to see what some of the handicappers are looking at when they're watching it in the morning.
Probably not looking like a first-up winner, but this race will give us a chance to look at him more closely. The thing for me, though, is a lot of times, so here in the United States, one of the things I look at is if a horse is that is facing have par races. I don't know if any of these horses have a par. And if the whole field is no, then you have to give the chance to the first-time starter because he doesn't have a no on the record yet. So I'm going to give him a shot. We'll see if that was a smart choice. If not, maybe the next horse will be a smart choice in Dragon Joy. This one is making the 3rd start after a layoff at the most classic of handicapping angles. And it improved enough from the first start to the second start that if that trend continues today, well, it probably is your winner. And then finally, I'm going to take a long shot in here again. Seems to be my theme, the last pick being a long shot. But Sunday's Serenade, one of my emerging newfound handicapping angles, is what I call a finely healthy horse. And this horse is 4 years old. It's only making, I think it's 5th or 6th career start. And a 4-year-old only making 5 or 6 starts so far, Tom, that's a pretty limited resume. It's taken a break after every single race. This is the first time in the horse's career that it's making 2 consecutive starts with heading to the sidelines. To me, that's an indication that the horse is finally sound and healthy and ready to run. Maybe they're going to get what they invested out of this horse. And honestly, the last race, the first up, quite frankly, in this unimpressive field, was probably good enough to win. So I'm going to take that one as my long shot, which brings us to the last race that you and I are going to do this week. Tom, are we going to do Sha Tin again next week?
Yeah, we are, because there's the 4 races where foreign horses are eligible to run, and that's one of their bigger days in Hong Kong on the racing calendar. So, Aidan O'Brien will be bringing his group. The Breeders' Cup Sprint winner, Starlust, is scheduled to run in the sprint, and that horse will be up against one of the best Hong Kong sprinters, which will be an interesting race.
Well, we'll get to that one next week. This week, we're going to close up the show with the Salisbury Handicap, everybody's favorite TV dinner, the Salisbury steak. Was that your favorite TV dinner too when you were living on the college?
Oh, yeah. My mother would make that when they were going out on either Friday or Saturday nights.
Yeah, it was always one of my favorites with the gravy. Oh, you can't beat that. Mashed potatoes. I think I'm going to go and buy me a TV dinner today.
Swanson's,
Yes, I'm going to just kind of reminisce and the throwback weekend. All right. So this one is going to be on the turf again. It looks like it's the same distance, 1,400 meters. So they'll start here. They'll come around. It does tend to favor closers, Thomas. For the last, well, before we do that, let's take a look at the speed map. Most of these horses should be middle forward. So that should really favor the horses that come from off the pace, Tom, in this particular case. So if you like the ones that come from off the pace, so far today I've been on the wrong side of every question I've asked you. So are you going to go with speed to keep things in line?
Nope.
There we go. Finally, I got one right.
I'm going to go with 8. Geneva, my top choice. He's one of the last 2 starts. He's come from behind, and he finishes that last 50 meters, and that's where he wins the race. He's a dead closer. He's running the money in all his races that he's had in his career. So, again, I think he'll be in the rear. Mid-pack would be a little bit of a surprise, but you never know. This is an interesting jockey change, too. Zach Purton's up on the horse. Has been winning 2 in a row instead of Hugh Bowman, and Hugh Bowman is a very good jockey. So, trainer must want to win again.
Mm-hmm. Either that or Hugh Bowman prefer the Gracious Express.
No, I don't think so. but I did take him for second. Because he won his last race in May, and the pace was really slow. So it was a paceless race, but that seems to be the norm for this horse. He seems to run in paceless races. And if you go through the write-ups, it'll say pace slow, or pace. It's like I'm looking at that going, well, maybe he gets a little something more up front. He'll close a little better. He ran 4th last time, non-threatening. I mean, he did okay. He sat behind the pace. He just needs a good trip, I think. And I think he'll be a little more forwardly placed than my top choice. I think, and also looking at the charts, this horse seems to like to run on the outside. So I think the starting position is more favorable than if he had drawn inside. And some of his inside races have not been good, whereas when he's been out a little bit, he's had better races. And my final choice of this broadcast will be number 4, Steps Ahead. Winner's last 2 races, they were both at this distance. The comment, he hits the finish line with good energy. Another one who's never been out of the money in 5 starts. This is be his second race at this level. As I said, he won it last time. I really can't say no to a horse like this. Mm-hmm. And that's why I put it in. And you can see its record. It's been, those 5 races, it's done pretty good.
Yeah, first, third, second. You're an owner. Those checks are going to be fun to put in the bank account. Well, hopefully, when you bet on Spanish Flame, that'll be a fun check to put into the bankroll as well. That's my top pick in here. A little bit of a flyer, maybe a major flyer to get started. The horse been off for a while, but to rewind back before something obviously went wrong with the horse, was running at much higher levels, including competitive races against group company. Something obviously went wrong. If this horse comes back even remotely close to that level of ability, I don't think this race will be close. Number 4, Steps Ahead. I think if that horse isn't ready, the one that you pointed out, Tom, with the 1-1-3-2-2 record, this one I think has, potentially get an ideal trip sitting in that middle, let the speed go burn itself out, has enough late legs to close it out and stay in front of the closer. So might get the ideal trip of this race.
And it's got a good draw. That helps.
Mm-hmm. And then My Wish,
doesn't have a draw.
Nah, but you know what he does have? A win at this level last out on Sha Tin grass. My concern about this guy is that he does have a lot of early speed, and there's plenty of it in here. If he has to work too hard to get to that turn first, then maybe it wasn't
be caught wide. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then finally, where you started, I'm going to end, is where I started the day too, with Zach Purton. And that's where I started the day. That's where I'm going to end the day. This horse is in the money 6 of 6 times that it got to run on good footing. 2 wins, 2 seconds, 2/3. And there should be good footing for Zach Purton and Geneva in the 7th try to keep that in the money record perfect. Again, free picks today, every day over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. Tonight will be Charlestown. There's a little bit of a difference between Charlestown and Churchill.
Just look at the top purse. That should tell you right there.
Yes, indeed. Well, the big difference is, that top purse. They both start with CH, and after that,
that's slightly different, don't you think?
It goes downhill after that for sure. And then again, a little later on, but before the races get cracking on Sunday, you'll see on horseracingtoday.net, we'll put all of Tom's picks and thoughts, my picks and thoughts, along with the race replay of the show. In a little while, we'll also timestamp every single race so you can come back and watch them individually in the description on YouTube. One of the great things that you can do if you like this show or any of the other shows we do, Terry and I will be back Monday and Tuesday to do parks. On Wednesday, I think Churchill closes, so we'll have to figure out what we're going to do on Wednesdays. Thursdays, in all likelihood, will continue to be Aqueduct. So you'll be able to get that and everything else by following us on our social sites below. If you're on YouTube right now, hit that subscribe button. If you haven't done so already, we're just about 100 or so away from the next milestone of 6,000. So be that 6,000th person if you can, or help us get there. Follow us on all of our other social sites at Horse Race, the number 2. Day on X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Bluey, whatever's out there. I know Swiss Army Sean has our content there. That wraps it up for today, Tom. Again, next week we will do Sha Tin once again. Any final thoughts from you before we roll out of here and start thinking about next Foreign Friday?
Hong Kong is one of those tracks where you'll be banging your head, but don't fret. Do watch some of the betting patterns, because if you do stay up for insomnia racing, it can get interesting. And the commentators who cover the Hong Kong racing are very interesting to listen to, because the one woman especially gives a good description of the horse, and she'll also talk about the way she saw the horse last time the horse was in the paddock and saddling up. Which I always find very interesting, if there's that big of a difference in a horse.
That change of behavior, if the horse
change of behavior, a health, better looking coat. I mean, she'll pull out all different things, or even just a walk she'll talk about. It's interesting to listen to, and if you'd like that kind of perspective, it's a nice listen.
Be worth staying up through the middle of the night.
Well, if you're up anyways, do something productive.
Well, hopefully our picks are productive. That's what we're always trying to accomplish here. Again, next Friday, Foreign Friday, we'll try to be productive again in Hong Kong. As for me, I won't be banging my head. I think I'll be sleeping. That's what I always say. But then you do the work, and then you want to see the results, right? You don't want to just look at it in the morning. But that's usually what happens for me. All right, folks, no matter what you're doing for the rest of this weekend, hopefully going to get a little exercise in to work off all that Thanksgiving food from yesterday. We certainly hope you have God's grace, God's favor, and every single thing you do until we meet again, Tom, ends up in
the winner's enclosure.
Yes, indeed. Thanks for joining us. Have a blessed weekend.